So I want to talk about better listening. So who here has heard of the 3 levels of listening? Cool, Russell, sweet, okay. So here's an environment. We've got some people kind of chatting about a project that they're working on. So Russell, what is the first level of listening? Like the weakest level of listening that you can have?
Like passive listening?
Yeah, so you got this kind of internal listening, right? Like he's listening, but he's mostly like thinking about what he's going to say next, right? Like he's not really listening. He's just like, okay, I'm kind of tuning you out, but I really just want to respond to you. So I'm thinking about what topic I'm going to add up next. Right? It's a very weak level of listening, right? And then, do you remember what the next one is? Okay, no worries. So focus listening. So I'm listening to, with 100% of my attention, not only hearing your words, but also tuned to your nonverbal communication. So I can see Cindy's kind of got her, arms crossed, and I'm really kind of paying attention to what's going on. So yes, I'm paying full attention to, and yes, I've got these thoughts going on in the background, but I'm not missing anything that you're saying, right? And then there's this global listening, which is similar to level 2, but it's got this profound awareness of the context in which this conversation is happening, right? So not only am I listening to what you're saying totally and kind of getting a sense of your verbal language, but I have sort of this awareness of what's happening in the room. I have awareness of what's happening in my body. If I'm beginning to find myself maybe a little bit stressed out or triggered from the conversation that we're having, I can begin to kind of notice that, maybe temper myself a little bit. You kind of see where this is going? So those are the 3 levels of listening. That's one concept I want to give you. Kind of park that off to the side for a second. Now, I want to give you a tip, and here's how I'll introduce it, about meditation. I want to tell you a little bit about how your mind works. Your mind operates with 2 modes simultaneously, and this is actually really important to improve not only your listening skills, but also your ability to meditate if you want to do so. So here's how it works. Go ahead and stick your finger out in front of you, and we're going to use an analogy using vision. Now look carefully at your fingernail, and you're going to notice that you can begin to make fairly subjective observations about it, right? I can see a size, I can see color, I can see shape. It's very solid. My area of attention isn't very wide. My focus vision is a very small area, but that small area is very detailed. I can have opinions about it. I can say, man, I really should stop biting my nails. So I've got this finger attention thing, right? But as you're focused on your finger, around your finger is all of this peripheral vision. And so what I want you to do is keep your eyes focused on your finger and just kind of take in the peripheral vision. Do you see how this is do you see the distinction that I'm making? Now the next thing I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and dart your eyes slowly to different objects around the room. And notice how your peripheral vision becomes very hard to maintain. It's actually really hard to stay focused on or kind of keep your peripheral vision, awareness of your peripheral vision happening as your focus vision is changing. Well, believe it or not, this exact same thing is happening in our own minds all the time. So we've got this attention, which is again like your focus vision, and your awareness, which is like your peripheral vision. And if your attention keeps changing, then you're going to drop awareness. And it just so happens that it goes the other way around, that your awareness helps you figure out where your attention is. So if I just had a very narrow view of my finger in front of me like this, I can't see really, if I were just to kind of take a telescope like this, right? All I can see is my finger, right? I can't really see the context around it, right? So if something else were to come in front of my finger and block my view, I couldn't see it threatening to happen before it actually did. So let me show you how this kind of plays in with listening. So here's an example of, okay, here I've got my focused attention, I'm listening, kind of the awareness of stuff that's happening around it, and the ideal is to have both that focused attention but also that peripheral vision, that peripheral awareness. And so we overemphasize attention at the expense of awareness. I'm going to pause here and see if you have questions about this, because I think this is actually a really neat thing to understand, and I'll tell you how it's applied in a second. Any questions or thoughts or comments about this? Cindy?
You can actually apply this to people under phones
Totally.
walking down the street
Totally.
because they suddenly don't realize that
Yes.
they're around.
Totally.
And they versus someone who's just walking and looking up at the sky.
Yes.
And who's feeling how everything is.
Yes.
And hearing what's going on.
Yes, exactly. So you have a finite degree of total mental capacity, right? And you can allocate that capacity in various different ways. So if somebody's on their phone, phones are designed to capture 100% of your attention. They're literally designed to do that, right? Evolutionarily designed to do that, right? And so they're going to capture all of our attention. And when they've captured all of our attention, we've lost all of our awareness. Whereas highly skillful meditators can do the exact opposite, right? They can actually sort of merge their attention and awareness so that they just constantly take in the entire field around them and they don't lose sight of anything. You actually can't startle a experienced meditator. It's very difficult to do because they're so aware of their environment. I love your phone example. I'm going to use that in the future. Absolutely. Any other questions or thoughts about that? Cool. So how does this work in a conversation? So to tie it back to those levels of listening, right? So maybe here's my fiance Meg speaking to me, and I'm trying to listen to Meg, and my attention on Meg is sort of like my phone, right? That I really love listening to her, so she's captured all of my attention. I have not a lot of awareness about what's happening, or it's just too narrow. And so what's happening is that Meg is talking to me, and I'm not really paying attention. I don't have any awareness of what's happening in my mind. I'm just totally focused on Meg. And then what happens is, eventually, my thought eclipses my attention on Meg, and I'm suddenly paying attention to my thoughts again. So that's like that level 1 listening. I didn't catch that thought about to intrude. It just took over because my attention was so laser focused and I didn't have any awareness. But if I have awareness, if I can kind of back away from that phone a little bit and keep in that field of peripheral awareness, the exact opposite of that phone, then what happens is that as that thought starts coming in and threatening my attention on the person I'm listening to, I can catch it out of the corner of my mind and dissipate it and reunify my focus. And so I can begin to see, and that's actually how I develop that level 2, level 3 plus listening, is not by actually trying to improve my ability to pay attention. We're actually really good at paying attention. That's not something that we have to develop. You can pay attention to Facebook or any social media or any game for hours. You don't have attention deficit disorder. You have awareness deficit disorder. And so you can't actually improve your attention by working on your attention because your attention isn't the broken part, it's the awareness. So what I would like to posit is in a matter of only months or a few years at most, we can actually develop a continual awareness of where our attention is placed. And this allows us to direct our attention anywhere we like and hold it there indefinitely. That's a superpower. And the way that you get there is by developing that awareness. Any questions about that? Any thoughts, comments?